Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we wanted to tell you about how we met Randy and Elia, some subscribers that we have on here that have commented in, and we got to meet them. It was amazing. The other day we had like an amazing time doing something we've never ever done before, which was meet some subscribers that have commented a few times, quite a lot of times, and just been so nice. I knew that we had some similarities to them because part of their comments were like, hey, my wife is also Mexican, you know, I love the culture, da 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 da. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And not only is she Mexican, but she's also from Monterey, which is where Daisy's from. They live in McAllen, Texas, which is where Daisy's parents live. And so I reached out to them and I was just like, hey, what if we were to like do it like a little meetup, you know, and just say hi, and it'd just be like really cool. And I've never done this before.
At the beginning, it was pretty just kind of like a surprise, just because Caden was like, oh, by the way, we're gonna have breakfast with a couple. And I was like, who? And he was like, yeah, well, they're subscribers and we haven't met them before, but we will. And it's just gonna be like a small coffee talk. And I was just kind of like a little bit weirded out at the beginning. I was like, okay, fine. You know, I was pretty nervous at the beginning, but then I was like, okay, I'll just follow your lead.
We met them there. I think it was like around 8:30 in the morning or maybe 9. I think we ended up spending like at least 45 minutes or maybe like an hour talking.
Yeah, which went pretty fast.
Yeah, so it turns out they were so amazing to talk to. Super nice, super friendly. And the more we started talking, the more we realized just how much we had in common. It was like really crazy. It was like, are you guys us, but like in the future? So we were all talking together and stuff, but there was some times where I was just talking to him and Daisy was just talking to her in Spanish. And there'd be times where I was like looking over at Daisy and just like, you got to hear this. And Daisy was like doing that to me, like, you got to hear this. Like, there were such interesting parallels to our story as well.
They met each other through newspaper. So that's how it started. And I think that's amazing because we did meet each other kind of like a little bit in the future, you know, like with a little bit more technology. That's my point, that it was like with newspaper, and we met each other through an app, right, that we're not going to mention. But I think starting from there, we already had like very kind of similar starting, and it was just super cool to know that.
So he also flew into Monterey to meet her, which was just what I had done as well. I think he said he was there about a week, like really struggling with Spanish, really, you know, they were just trying to communicate and get to know each other. And I was like, I know what that's like. Over a year later, they ended up getting married, and they've been back and forth, and they go and visit her family that's there in Monterey. It was just so interesting, the parallels and just how similar it was. And like I said, they were just super nice, and I'm just like so glad that we decided to do a little meetup because it just turned out so good. And like Daisy was saying, you know, you're a little bit like, okay, hope this goes well and stuff. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I just feel like they're our friends now. And what a great blessing and benefit of YouTube to be able to meet people like that. And it's just like, that's social media for real, you know what I mean?
I just feel so grateful that I did have the opportunity to meet them. I really feel like I want to be surrounded by people like them. They just give me so much peace and so much joy at the same time. Just by like sharing 1 hour, I can't imagine if we will share like longer, right? And they're now gonna be invited to my parents' carnes asadas and everything. So yeah, they're our new friends, and I'm so grateful for them.
Yeah, that was the really cool thing. It was just like, okay, anytime we're gonna go down to McAllen, we're gonna let them know that we're on our way and see if we can, invite them over to her families. Or they said we could go and hang out with their family and in McAllen or Monterey and stuff. And so, new friends achieved.
I just hope we can see them again pretty soon. And even if at the beginning it was just kind of like shocking from Caden, I'm so glad that he's sometimes extrovert. So yeah, it's pretty fun to see like the similarities on a couple that is the exact same, like Mexico and the US. And also coming like from the same city, we were just both me and her talking about like how sometimes we have pretty strong way of talking, but it's not being rude to our partner. It's just we just grew up in so much noise that is just normal for us, and just those culture shocks that they were the exact same ones. It was just like
We kind of experienced the same.
yeah, and it's just we both were like, do you see to our husbands, like yeah, we're not trying to be rude, it's just the way that it comes out. But also the very nice and gentle partners that we both got, you know, it was just such a nice talk.
Yeah, big thank you to them for like agreeing to meet us that morning and just being such kind, good people. Definitely a highlight of this whole YouTube channel. So other than that, we will catch you guys in the next one.